Most marriages don't break with yelling. They break with silence. It's not the conflict. It's the distance. The conversations you avoid, the nights you scroll instead of talk, the things you hold back. It all adds up. Silence convinces you things are fine when they're not. And the longer it goes, the harder it feels to bridge the gap. But intentional couples don't ignore the distance. They lean in. They start awkward conversations. They ask hard questions. It's not comfortable, but it's what keeps a marriage from quietly falling apart. Closeness doesn't happen by accident. Speak, lean in, stay close, intentionally.
Welcome to another episode of Amplified Marriage. I'm Brian.
I'm Natalie.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you know what I'm going to say. We're so glad that you joined us. So get comfy, grab some coffee, go for a run, do what you got to do, get your notepad out. But we just want to talk a little bit about what drift in marriage actually looks like. And so if you missed our last episode, we want you to go back, take a listen to it. It's on sexual intimacy. That's just the beginning of many. We want to talk about sex, where we broke down our physical connection, talked about church, growing up, and the culture that surrounded that idea of sexual intimacy. And so this episode, like I said, we're talking about the marriage drift and how do you avoid the marriage drift. Mm-hmm. Are you excited?
I am, actually. I'm excited because we know this topic a lot. We know it very well. It's something that we've struggled with.
Well, I think that I would say that the majority of couples at some point in their marriage have actually struggled with marriage drift. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like when I'm talking with our church team, there's mission drift, or there's vision drift, or there's the things in your there's relationship drift, or there's friendship drift. There's all kinds of drift out in the world. And I would say that if you're in a relationship with anyone and you want that relationship to be valuable and something that you care for, you really have to put effort into any kind of relationship. But, this is a marriage podcast, so we're going to talk about marriage. And so
100%. And like the things that you value, place effort in.
Right.
And so, even if you're at a place of, I just don't know if I value my current situation.
Right.
Hopefully at the end of this, you'll have some tools and you'll feel encouraged to press in.
Yeah.
And not feel like you're alone in that journey.
Right. And so let's just describe what drift looks like. And I would say this is not going to be a definitive list today.
Oh gosh, no.
I think that so many couples struggle with different things, have different things that they need to work on. But marriage drift is one of those things where you say you used to have really good communication, or you really had lots of good conversations, or they just even what we have, it's like you shrink it down to just the logistics of everyday life.
Right. I in my mind, I think back to those dating years. We had nothing to lose.
Everything to gain.
Everything to gain. If you think back, we're probably not the only couples who spent every time that they could together, right, learning about each other, asking questions. What are your likes? What are your dislikes? And it creates the foundation. And then you get married, and we felt guilt. I don't know if this is the right way of saying it, but we are guilty of falling into this trap of not nurturing that.
Right.
We kind of just were like, well, I kind of know all I need to know. And so. And
it's almost the attitude of I've won the prize and now I don't need to put effort into it that much longer.
Exactly.
Because now I got, which is a really weird thing. So just like a side question that has had, is that a cultural thing, or is that just we've put so much pressure on couples to have this amazing journey and amazing story, and then it ends with getting married, and then there's just not enough communication about what
life after marriage looks like.
What life after marriage looks like.
Could be.
What it could be, what it looks like. Or is it because we're so good at just saying that line. It's about the journey, not the destination. And then you get to the destination of you got married, and all of a sudden,
not what it's cracked up to be.
well, most oftentimes it isn't. I would say 90% of marriages, especially in the people that we've coached in our own relationship, when they got married, within a few months, it looks different than they thought it was going to look. And one of the things that we do when we do our pre-marriage coaching, and we work with couples even after they've been married, is the reality of what marriage is. Set expectation, but also reality of what the marriage is because of, time. Now you have jobs, and now you're living in the same place. All the things that you're going to see, things that all the rom-com movies skip over.
Right.
So we like to tell people the reality of these situations, but the negative that you see alternatively also on those rom-coms can actually be avoided or at least mitigated a little bit by communicating.
Well, I remember
and working through some of the problems, right?
I remember when I was in college, I'd have to be at my practicum at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
We would be out till at Perkins, which back in the day it was like open 24 hours.
They
and
had the best French fries.
Oh, the best French fries and ranch dip. And we'd sit out there just talking till 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'd go home, sleep for 2 hours, get up and do my practicum. And then I remember when we got married, I was like, well, we're married now, so good night.
Yeah.
And kind of in my own mind, checked out of that excited to be with you till the wee hours of the morning. Like it kind of was like, we're married now, so that we don't need to keep doing that. Good night. I'll see you in the morning.
Which I think for us, it was a really quick, or like a rip off the Band-Aid. That's the wrong way to say it, but it was a really fast
decline.
Decline's the wrong word, but it was a really fast into that mentality of just chilling and relaxing. Like, I've won the prize. Now I don't have to put any effort into this because I already have it. And I think part of the mentality too, that I would like to would be probably, well, I live with this person now, and I see them in the mornings, I see them in the evenings. I'm with them all the time. Whereas before, we didn't live together.
No,
we didn't. We waited to have sex, before we got till we got married. So we weren't living in the same place. You had your own place before we got married. So we had all that, but it was, even for us, it was like shortly after, it was almost like the gold that was on there just kind of wore off just like that. And we moved into this place of just almost complacency immediately. Which didn't help us long term. No. And short term, I mean.
As we're talking about this and kind of we were prepping, of like thinking back to, was there a definitive, this was the moment? And it as fast as the switch happened, it like, I know that we say like, oh, it doesn't happen overnight. And
it happened within a couple months. Like, it wasn't long. It was a couple months. But then our conversations,
almost like an apathy.
Yeah, like there was definitely an apathy in the relationship. And I think part of it too was, now that I'm older, and one of the things that we love doing is we love coaching couples into intentionality. Like, even I would say too that your parents didn't have a role model relationship that was something that we could look at and be like, man, I want that. My parents were divorced, so we didn't have that.
Yeah.
We weren't really completely involved in church, so I didn't have a lot of church guys that I could be like, hey, I look up to these guys. And so I think part of it is that culture says get married, then what happens after? There's none of that. What's that title that you love, Beyond the Glass Slipper? What happens after you get married?
Right. There is a whole other world beyond the Cinderella story that we've all...
Right.
And I still love a good Cinderella story. Don't get me wrong. And I'm sure there are couples out there that really
had that.
Do
absolutely.
have
Don't
that.
fault
and
them for that.
No, not at all. And I, can appreciate that that's been their journey thus far. Will it remain a Cinderella story?
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Right? So then what happens when you get into this place of marriage drift, which for us was really quick, and then we were able to correct a few years later, almost getting divorced.
Yeah.
But like literally the conversations were not deep. They were just logistics. We didn't have any kids at the time, so it was like, how are we going to pay the bills? How's the insurance on the car, the gas, or the car broke down?
It very quickly went from, excuse me, from like you working days to my working night.
Oh yeah, that's
shifts,
true.
Right. And so we were on opposite shifts.
And we didn't, and again, we didn't know how to be intentional.
No.
We didn't know how to be intentional at all about putting our relationship first.
And even expressing to each other
Right.
what we actually needed
Yeah.
without resorting to unhealthy tactics and antics.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, we talked about bills and, who's doing what. I mean, we're on opposite schedules, right? So I slept all day long because I worked graveyards and you worked all day long. So not a whole lot got done.
So, and here's the thing about marriage drift. Marriage drift is interesting because when you're talking about marriage drift, it used to be that there would have been in a relationship probably lots of passion, like maybe sexual passion, but passion to be with each other, passion to...
And we definitely had passion to be with each other.
But then when we got married, it kind of wore off, and then life just became mundane, and we didn't really know how to get out of it. And we actually went to the place where we were just talking about just regular, normal trivia things. We didn't really discuss dreams or heart or anything like that. No. Moving into a place where we fought all the time to the place where we almost were like, we're just not going to fight about anything because it was easier just to avoid us.
Yeah.
We avoid talking, right? We were really good at fighting.
It just went around in a circle, right? There was never any resolve.
Right. And
which
even
then just led into a cycle of downhill spiral.
Yeah. Right. And it's not like in that drift, I was trustworthy because I was stepping out or if you listen to our podcast, I was not a gem at the beginning of the relationship.
But that is not one area that you ever, like neither of us were unfaithful.
No, that's not what I mean though. Because like we're looking at like the relationship wasn't contentious that way. It's like,
right.
But it was just contentious, and then all of a sudden, like what happens is as you couples that you get to a place where you just don't fight anymore, or you choose not to fight anymore because, like what you said, you're just going around. You don't want to talk about this thing again, and then the danger is that you drift into peaceful in the moment for the short term. But long term, you're just building resentment towards me, which really is what happened in both of our cases. We just built resentment towards each other.
Yeah.
And I was angry and I was frustrated, and we really had to work things out.
Well, and there's the scripture, without vision, the people perish.
Right. We had no vision.
We had no vision, and we literally walked out the perishing of our relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Quite frankly. And where was God in the mix of that? That's a really great question.
Well, let's say this way. I even said it when I was preaching on Sunday. I said I knew all the right verses.
Right.
I knew all the right things I was supposed to say, the right mask I was supposed to wear. So did you. You've talked about this.
Yeah.
We could fight like tooth and nail on the way to church and then get to church and no one would know that we were even having an argument all the way to church. Just conflict.
Well, and I was talking with somebody and a while back, and they were like, it's shocking to hear how you guys struggled, because when we were dating, we were that couple that apparently other people looked at, like, not the golden couple, but we were the couple to emulate. And
couples goals.
Yeah, right.
Hashtag
it was like,
couples goals.
Wherever did you put us on that kind of pedestal? Like, no.
You're right.
Right?
I mean, let's be honest. I was awesome with my big hair and silver chains when I was a kid.
And your silk shirts. We'll just leave that at that.
Yeah, I love my silk shirts. Thank you.
But it just got me thinking of the mask that we put on was so deceiving. Like, not even our closest friend knew we were struggling. He was shocked.
Yeah.
Right. And so we thought we were barely holding it together, but apparently in public, like, we could act the part incredibly well.
That's right. We didn't realize that we were so good at that until later. Right. And so, like, even in all of this marriage drift and all the things that were going on, is we had got to a place where there was no thriving. It was just surviving.
If that.
And the decline was within what we almost got divorced within the first 2.5 years. You'd have to listen to the podcast. I don't want to go into the whole story, but I had a revelation moment where God shifted everything in my mind, showed me in 10 seconds what the life would be like and what I didn't want. But
so can I ask a question?
Uh-oh.
The drift that was so obvious back then, now that we're 24 years married.
Why we can look back and be like, I know why.
Now the drift, because we're smarter, is sneakier.
No, that's true. Yeah.
where your time schedule fills up and now you've got the kids and you're racing them to this, that, and the other extracurricular activity. And, I'm out the door, you're coming home. It's like, see ya. Right. And so I think one thing to caution is the drift might not be as obvious, but is camouflaged in busyness.
That is true. And I would say that because our culture worships busyness, that would be one of those things that's really easy to just get into the habit of, we're so busy.
Well, we almost wear it like a badge of honor. It's like, how are you? I'm so busy.
Yeah,
and I've done
right.
this.
Yeah. And
I'm just so busy. Like, I must seem so much more important because of my busyness.
I've been trying to say, instead of, I'm so busy, I'm like, you know what? Life is full. It's good, but it's full.
Yeah.
Right? Like we were sitting with my sister and my brother-in-law, and we're about to go back to school. And I was just listening to them talk back and forth as we're all just talking about what school looks like. And they had this moment where my brother-in-law, Jeremy, is just kind of looking. He's like, where are we going to have time for us? And she stops and she kind of thinks, she's like, holy moly. I said, with their gymnastics, because two of their kids, one plays hockey, one
sports.
Yeah, one plays hockey, one does gymnastics.
Like really competitive.
And competitive in both. And so they've decided that this is a value for their two kids, and they're going to put time and effort and money into it. And so we love that about it because we get to watch hockey and gymnastics. But they had this moment right in front of us where they're like, oh, no, we're going to have to actually schedule time on Mondays,
intentional times,
and watch them just kind of work it out right in front of us. It was real time. He's like, no, we have to do it on Mondays. We have time on this, and it's not like there's no other opportunities for connect. But they weren't talking about just sex. They weren't talking. They were like, we want to watch a movie together.
Like intimacy.
Yeah, they want intimacy where they can talk. They can have vision. They can talk about their week. They can talk about the stuff that they're struggling with. I thought it was really cool to watch them.
I love them.
Right. I love that. But I watched them figure it out right in front of us. Like, hey, this is so intentional. One thing they've really taught us over the years is two things. One, they value and
dating each other.
They do it really, really well. And we've learned a lot because of that from them, because
we don't do that well.
We do it better.
Even now, I wouldn't say we do it well. I say we're copycats.
Yeah, we steal it from them.
We steal from them.
Then we go with them.
I was like, what'd you do? Oh, we went on a date. Oh, shoot. Maybe we should schedule.
Or we just schedule dates with them.
Or we schedule dates with them.
But there's two things. One, they've intentionally chosen to date each other really, and they do it so well.
Yeah. And
they miss too. Like, it's not like they're perfect, but they do it so well. And the other thing they're really good at is they have intentionally built holidays, like valued in holidays, whether it's Disney or we're going away for a weekend.
Yeah.
And we didn't do that very well either.
No.
So we've learned a lot from those two.
Oh, yeah.
But those two intentional pieces have kept them from drifting so far apart that they don't actually know each other. When they come together on a Saturday night after the whole week has been crazy with hockey and gymnastics, they come back and all of a sudden they're all together.
And we'll jump ahead and then we'll come back of like tips that you can do if you have to schedule time together. Schedule time together. I thought that was so wonderful when they were like, "Yep, what day are we in the same place at the same time?" And schedule was like, "Wow!" Like, I mean, we know because we know them really well. We know that they do that, but to have them just articulate that, and it was just a great reminder.
Yeah, it was really cool.
We're entering a whole new season too. Yeah. Of remaining intentional regarding our time of connectivity together.
Right.
That was just a great reminder.
Yeah.
I love you guys if you're listening.
So, and even all of this, like, we want to go from a position of marriage drift where you're coming back into the place. And so something that we did for a long time, we actually called it 15-minute couch time. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in our earlier podcast, we talked about that.
Yeah, where I would come home from work, and the first thing is I would say hi to the kids, and I would say, hey, kids, Mom and Dad are going to take 15 minutes, and we're just going to decompress, and we're going to talk. And it was just no phones, just looking each other in the eyes. We weren't running away from anything, even if sometimes we had to discuss a discussion or an argument we had that morning. But we just came back with a chance to regroup, and sometimes she was frustrated and she would just hand me the kids and she would leave, or I was coming in late and the kids were already in bed. But we always really did, like, we call it something that we're working towards is this, or teaching people is this 10-minute pause. But we did the 15-minute couch time. So it's a same version, 10-minute pause. You step away in the middle of a discussion, or you step away in the middle of an argument and just take 10 minutes and actually pause without forgetting that you need to go back and deal with it.
Right. And that was something, and we've talked before about internal and external processing. And I'm an internal processor, Brian's an external. And so I need time.
Yeah.
But You
And
know,
I don't want to give
define
time. Yeah.
You know, that could be 3 weeks from now, for all you know, right? Setting a definitive time, and for us, I think it was 30 minutes, if I remember right. And there's times now, like as I've grown and things don't feel, I don't know, I've matured. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
In certain things, I've matured. I won't say
Right.
I have arrived, but I've matured, and so the what do you call it? The turnaround time
Yeah.
is, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think way less than 30 minutes for the most part.
Yeah. And then it depends on.
Maybe it depends on who.
Well, no, I think if it's me or if it's like Katie or Jeremy and you're really frustrated, or even with the kids, even with like our really good friends, Nate and Katrina, if there's a frustration or something, it's going to be like, I just need to take a break and just give me a few minutes and you're going to go back to it.
Oh,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too. This just popped in my head. Again, what you value, what's important to you, you
Yeah.
place value and
Yeah.
intention on.
Right.
And those relationships are incredibly important to me. So I'm not going to let it slide. I've learned
Yeah.
that those relationships are incredibly important to me.
And you have to fight for them.
And you have to fight for them. And
And-
I'm not going to allow space and distance to get in the way of that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And like for us, I would say that there's been times where it depends on I get this way. Here, let me explain. Is that you're externally, if something bothers you, like that has nothing to do with us,
Right.
but then I do something that pisses you off, the condition in which we work it out will change based on how that other thing was already nagging you. Right? Like your emotions were already hot. Then we got
I
to a
see.
discussion and then you're extra hot. And sometimes it gets to the place where it's not irrational, but you're just like, this wasn't like, I missed them. I was late for 5 minutes or something like that. And it goes from a DEFCON 5 or 4 to a DEFCON 1, just like that.
Or it wasn't even you being late. It was a comment of, I don't know why you're letting this bother you.
Yeah, that one is my go-to.
It's probably like, what do you need from me right now? Not to say that.
Yeah, right. But I think now, for sure, our conversations and our conflict is so much more short-lived for the most part. I'm sure there's probably examples where you've been pissed and it's taken like an hour and a half or 2 or 3 hours for like just to come down.
Right.
And sometimes that's me. Sometimes it's situational and you're already heated, not just because life is intense. Like we got a lot going on in our life. And so life is intense and you're like, I think you know yourself well enough to know that if I go back now, this is not going to be good for either of us and I'm not ready for it.
I need a timeout.
And so you know that now.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I need more time. And you'll just say, hey, I just need a little bit more time. I'm like, okay. I know now that if you don't come back in that 45 minutes and you come to me and say, hey, I want more time, I don't press and be like, no, let's deal with this now.
Right.
Because I'm very much, if we're going to have conflict, I want to do it. I want to deal with it now.
Well, and that brings me to this thought. We've come to a place, unless we're being silly, because we are competitive with each other. Well, I'm competitive with you. I'm playing a game you're not
I
playing.
am super glad that you clarified that, because so oftentimes, apparently, I was competing in things that I didn't know I was competing in.
That's right. And so we have an understanding
I like how you say
of
this.
each other. It's not about one-upping you. It's not about winning. It's not about some victorious stance, because
I know
at the end of the day, like conflict, there's you can have a win-win, and that's when you're both respectfully having a discussion.
Yeah.
You can disagree, but I'm not name-calling and whatever else. And I say I'm not name-calling because of the two of us, I'd be the one to name-call. So I know that about myself. But
it's that French side.
It is that French side. It's not about putting the stake and the flag in the ground of I have beat you to this.
Right. Yeah.
It's about at the end of our resolving and like coming together, even to talk about what drifting looks like. And like we said, nowadays it's camouflaged in busyness. It's camouflaged in decompressing, or I've had a really hard day. Self-care. And we are like advocates for self-care. Don't misunderstand.
Within reason and balance.
Sometimes my scrolling on the phone at night is not because I'm self-caring. It's because I'm disconnecting.
Yeah, right.
Right? And so these are like things to be aware of. But it's not about having gained some prize at the end of it.
Right.
Right? We both win in a resolve when we both are mutually respectful of each other and want
Right.
to understand the other's position.
The goal and to avoid marriage drift is like we got the 15-minute pause to communicate, to connect, is to actually understand each other, not have victory. And so often in our relationship, it was my way or the highway.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't really care if you understood. I just wanted to be the one that was winning.
Like the iron fist, you mean?
Yeah, I wasn't
Kinda
so iron.
like the iron hammer or whatever, just kind of nailing your...
Yeah, just like, no, this is what we're going to do. This is how, because I said so, and blah, blah, blah. And I was a bit of a bullheaded kind of, I'm still bullheaded, but I'm much more wise with my bullheadedness. But I'm looking now to understand why you are the way you are, the way you say the things that you say. And so now I know your heart and your behavior and then the why you tick a certain way. And so we can come to an understanding and not just beat each other up and one of us looking for, well, I won this argument.
Right.
Right. Which, when you try and win the argument, only divides you, and you end up drifting even further apart.
100%.
Right?
Then the scorekeeping comes in.
You
Then
were
the
so
bringing
good at
up-
the scorekeeping.
Then the bringing up the past, which I have.
Oh, my goodness.
They say elephants never forget anything. I think sometimes
Natalie
women never forget
Natalie
anything.
does not forget a bloody thing.
Bringing up things of the past. I can draw on old, dusty.
Oh yeah, and I don't even
files.
remember what we discussed or argued about 3 weeks ago. And you were like, "Well, this one time in 1987 when we weren't even together, you did this." I'm like, "What the?"
Exactly,
Right.
right? And which is not healthy.
So-
If I want to come to a point where if I'm looking back on how things were, it's to see how far God's brought us,
Yeah.
not to throw it in your face about how horrible
Well, let's just
you
be
were
honest.
or I was.
I know I gave you lots to work with. Like,
It goes both ways.
yeah, you
Now-
always say that, but I was,
It's
and Natalie's about to
I-
deny what I'm going to say. I was 70%, if not 80 to 85% of the issue.
We were
in
both
the first
100%
100. I was 85% of the problem in the first 5 years of marriage, easily. There's
And
no.
the next 20, I'm 85% of the problem.
I didn't want to say that. I wanted you to admit to. I mean, that's not what I mean at all.
Good.
But
if your spouse loses, you both lose.
that's
So-
right. And so that's right. So we have this written down. If your spouse loses, you both lose.
That's right.
And-
You're on the and that was one of the things too. I forgot and here's where good leadership, as far as like you spending time with the Lord, me spending time with the Lord, you leading our family strong, it just kind of fell by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
And there were no more solutions. There were just accusations
Yeah, right.
that we were slinging back and forth.
And there was no coming to any kind of agreement on anything. And then we started to shut down and we weren't talking to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, like that's drastic, but
Yeah.
that's not, if we're not careful, we can slip so easily back into where we're roommates rather than lovers, right?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's always fun thinking back. Fun might not be the right word, but interesting thinking back to where we were when we first got married, to our conflict resolution, to where we are right now. Right. And so like I just wanted to share this. I said, you already talked about, but unhealthy conflict is like keeping score, bringing up the past, stonewalling things, doing
Silent treatment,
all that stuff. But healthy conflict is respect. You're staying in the moment that you're in the present for the thing that you're discussing right now, not what's in the past. And you're actually trying to find solutions.
That's right. And we have to say this. You have to own your part.
Yep.
If
Be
there's
accountable.
a disconnect, there are two people responsible for that disconnect.
Yeah.
It's not just all in one. Like, I know that you are so graciously taking the majority of the onus, but we're both 100% responsible for our part.
You were 100% of the 15% problem that you were, and I was 100% responsible for the 85% problem.
Wasn't there something we talked about logistics?
No, we're not even going to get there. Just let me have this one,
Okay.
at least for this episode. Then you can try and dissuade everyone on the next one. But and here's the thing: is like we want to end with this: is that conflict isn't the enemy; the silence is.
Yeah.
And it could be that you're not completely having into the silent treatment, but you are into, I'm not going to deal with this problem. I'm not going to bring this up. I don't want to talk about this because it's either explosive, it doesn't get to a resolution, it's frustrating, and you never end up getting anywhere where there's a resolution to that particular problem.
Or as you're passing each other in the hallway, in the busyness, in the just life,
right?
You're not even aware that there's a drift that's happened until oftentimes it's too late.
Yep, absolutely. And so I want you, if you're listening to this, to do two things. I want you to practice the 10-minute pause this week. If you're in the middle of something that's heated and you're not getting anywhere, I want you to just pause, take a minute, think about it, pray about it, and listen to music, reframe it, different perspective. Call someone that you're trusted in the middle of it. But always come back to the conversation, 10, 15 minutes. At least communicate with them, hey, I just need 10 minutes because this is getting out of hand.
Well, no, we listen to understand, not to respond.
We listen to understand, not to respond. Thank you. That is not my easiest thing. And then this is what we want you to do. We want you to comment or share a phrase on our social media or email. What is something that you do that actually you use to start a really tough conversation? We would love to hear what they have them. So you can do that on Instagram. You can do that on our email. And if you like this podcast, please tell us that you like us. Show us that you like it. It means a lot when you share it and let people know about Amplified Marriage. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. If you disagree with something we said, want to add to something that we said, you have a question or anything you'd like to discuss, you can email us at Gmail. And again,
amplifiedmarriage@gmail.com.
Amplifiedmarriage@gmail.com. I got excited and I didn't finish my thought. And if you just want to connect with us over Instagram, I would love to hear from you. And you hear us say this at the end of every episode. We believe that your marriage can be reset,
refreshed,
recharged,
and restored.
Thanks so much for listening.
Talk to you soon.